Produced by Anyway Plus 81. Hey guys, this is Anyway Plus 81. I'm Ryoto. Today I have a first guest on this podcast. We are spontaneously recording. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. So let's get started. Hi, I'm real nervous and excited. Here's today's guest. Hey Sinju, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine. And the weather is so good. Now currently the weather is so comfortable for me because it's not high temperature and it's not humid. So how about where you live?
Yes, I'm living right now in Austria in Europe, and it's at the moment 8 o'clock in the morning. And I would say the temperature is something like 10 degree, 10 Celsius-ish. That basically means that it's a bit cold, but it's all right.
Okay. So in the morning, thank you very much to take your time
No, it's
to
no problem.
recording. So
I
the
understand.
yeah, so I really appreciate you being here. So can you introduce yourself? So
Sure.
yeah.
I am, so my name is Seung-ju, and I am from South Korea, but I have been living in Europe since 2011. It's like half of my life I have spent in Europe.
Yeah.
And I went to gymnasium, so basically middle school and high school in Europe, in Hungary specifically. And I'm currently going to university in Vienna, University of Vienna, and studying business management and computer science at the same time. So I'm majoring two majors.
So before you live in Vienna, you're living in Vienna. Where did you stay?
I used to live in Hungary because
Hungary. Okay.
yes,
Sorry.
my father is still there because he used to work as a professor there in the university called Semmelweis University. So and that's the reason why actually I went to Europe, because my father started working there. So I moved to
Yeah, that's
Hungary and
cool.
went to the middle school and high school, and then it's
Wow. And so before leaving Korea, you already have a English speaking ability. You can
yes.
okay.
Well, I mean, like, I mean, I mean, like, when I was in Korea, my ability of speaking English wasn't that good, to be honest. It was something like saying hello and greeting people and saying some basic stuff. So,
So you also lived in Hungary, so that you also can speak Hungary. How can I say the language in
Hungarian.
Hungary?
Well, to be honest, my Hungarian isn't that good. I
Hungary.
would say my Hungarian is something like in the European framework is something like B2.
Yeah, better is good enough.
Nah, it's not good. It's not good, honest.
Which do you like, the Hungary or Austria?
Austria, where I personally think that there are advantages and disadvantages living in both countries. But if I have to choose one, then I would probably choose Austria. I mean, like if I get really old, then I would like to spend my rest of my life in Hungary. But like in Hungary, you don't get paid a lot, right? Your salary isn't good compared to other countries. So, like if I am at the age of like 20s or 30s, then if I have to choose a country between these two countries, then I'll choose Austria.
Oh yeah, I love Austria. I I was living only a month, but
Yeah.
I love. but
You have to visit Hungary too.
yeah, I wanna go to Hungary. It's not far from Vienna. You can
It's
drive a car to get there.
it's something like the capital of Hungary is Budapest, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think it's like 300 kilometers from Budapest to Vienna. So
Mm-hmm.
from capital to capital, it takes
Uh,
something like 3 hours. So
three
usually you
hours.
take the yes,
Oh, it's near. So that you
not
can you can you can back to your primary house
Mhm.
easily, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
right, right.
So, well, how do you spend the time in this situation?
Well, to be honest, I have lectures
Mm-hmm.
and since yesterday
Mm-hmm.
the winter semester has begun.
Yeah, I'm
And
also.
yeah, the lectures are online and the offline too. There's
Mm-hmm.
some lectures that I have to attend compulsorily. So that basically means that I have to be either at home or at the building, to take the
Mm-hmm.
lessons. So I'm quite busy, to be honest, but it's really the start of the semester, so but I think it's good that we started a new semester. And
So the like in this situation, we are likely to spend our time in a whole day
mm,
by yourself and alone. So that then we also have time to think about yourself or be suffering from some anxieties, right?
mhm,
So the
yep.
actually is it good for you or not? So the in my
To
case, the actually I didn't have any time to do it before. So
mhm,
the now it's my daily task now to think about myself or care about my mental health. So the
yep.
yeah, I I realized the importance of mental health as well as physical one. And
Mhm.
after dealing with them, I really feel good. So in this situation, it's likely to be alone, but it's a very precious moment to to think about myself and also my future. So how about you?
Sure. I completely agree that
Mm-hmm.
especially in this time, you have a lot of free time on your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can basically think about yourself, and you could also feel really lonely and
Mm-hmm.
depressed. I saw some people being depressed in this corona time,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure and that like after this corona,
Mm-hmm.
it will not be the same after it,
Mm-hmm.
just like us. And I think people really have to develop their self in this time because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
after corona, the world wouldn't be the same, just like we used to live
Mm-hmm.
in, because like
Yeah.
that a lot of people got laid off,
Yeah.
basically they lost jobs, and um, a lot of things are changing dramatically. So people need to develop in this time.
Mm-hmm.
But if are depressed and do nothing, then
Yeah.
nothing will be changed. So
Yeah.
they really need to care about their mental health and think about
Yes. So,
their life direction, I should say.
and so when did you realize the importance of your mental health? So it's a little difficult to realize it when we are young age. So the we grew after we grew up, we can notice that, right? So w- is there any exact moment you realize that?
Uh, that my mental health is important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to have also depression, And it was really bad. Um, I don't really want to tell the reason why I got depression because
mhm,
it's complicated. Well, I mean, one of there are a lot of reasons, but it's complicated. But there's just one reason that I can tell. I used to trade bitcoins, you know, the cryptocurrency.
mhm.
You know Bitcoin?
Bitcoin,
Yeah.
yeah, blockchain.
I used, yeah, I used to trade bitcoins, and I used to have a lot of money. Actually, I used to have well, I'm saying this for real, but I used to have about 100,000 euro
Wow.
of value in Bitcoin.
Oh, okay. And so
But
you know
I
that.
lost,
Uh-huh.
but I lost all of it except the original money that I had invested in. So that really hit me hard, and I really couldn't concentrate on things that I had to do, like studying.
Mm-hmm.
So, and after that, I started having anxiety and depression. And
Okay.
after some months of struggling, I realized that I need to take care of my health because my mental health was like collapsed. It was like
Mm-hmm.
broken. So I couldn't do anything. So it
Wow.
was that moment that I really need to
Yeah.
do something to, care about
Wow.
it.
Yeah. Do you have any habit to take care of your anxiety, like
Uh,
um
I started reading a lot of philosophical books.
mm-hmm,
It was like I had some free times to read,
mm-hmm,
and I wanted to see like what really uh, our life is about. Because philosophy is the subject which studies about these basic and primitive questions from
mm-hmm,
different perspectives. They question
yeah,
um, different things from different perspectives to get an the answer which we
yeah.
can never get in terms of philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So
To be
it
honest,
helped me a lot.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To be honest, I learned it from you about the importance of mental health,
Oh,
and
yeah.
also I'm, I'm started to read the philosophy about the philosophy after we met. So
Uh-huh.
in my case, the first of all, in the morning, I drew up today's schedule, including my
Mhm.
task, and
Yep.
the other night, if I have anxiety or some problem I'm conscious of, I try to deal with them and
Yep.
like why I'm suffering from them or what is the best way to think about it. So sometimes listening to another podcast, it helps me, and also I'm I'm obsessed with reading the book like about the philosophy or psychology, so that I was reading the Courage to be Dislike It. Do you know that? The title
Mhm.
is The Courage to be Dislike It. It's a the original is a Japanese book.
I mean, really, philosophy helps you grow
Mm-hmm.
your imagination and mind and your way of thinking. It lets you think in different directions. I mean, like there's actually a problem in our education system. I think especially in Asian countries. But if you want me to, then I could talk about it. Like if you have time to, like, can I? Or
Yeah, please.
okay. So I mean, in case of South Korea, I don't know about in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but the when we write tests in school,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's usually more multiple choice questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same in Japan, maybe?
Yeah.
And the problem is that, like in Europe, like where I was raised in,
Mm-hmm.
the there are no really multiple choice questions, but it's rather open field questions that you have to write your answer. And the good thing about this system is that it doesn't limit your you know ideas or thinking, because like if there are only limited number of questions that you can choose from,
Yeah.
then you cannot really think further, right? But this kind of system which exists in Asian country, mostly in Asian country, restricts the mind of students, like the imagination of students, because they
Yeah.
always have to choose from a number of given number of given answers. They have to choose it. They
Yeah. Yeah.
think of it. And that's actually a really big problem, because it kind of, in a way, limits people's, I mean, students' imagination and the way of thinking. So let's
Yeah.
say, like, like, for instance, in mathematics or like in statistics, some theories or like some theories or some proof could be like later later like proves that this formula was wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
100 years. But if people with those restricted mindset would try to prove this kind of formula wrong,
Yeah.
then it would be extremely hard, because they're not creative, or they could not really use their imagination enough. They would only just rely on the
Yeah.
existing stuff, and they would not really explore further. I think this is really a big problem, one of the big problem in the education system of Asian country, and that's why a lot of people are quite, I should say, not open-minded. And what
Yeah.
I mean by open-minded is that when they think about matter or affair, they cannot think in different directions, but they think it in like only one direction, and it causes and this causes people to not have the ability of debating, because they always have this kind of kind of closed mind that the answer is only this one, like in terms of
Yeah.
task,
Yeah.
right? So they cannot really debate. And this is actually what I have faced with a lot of Asian students. They cannot
Yeah.
really debate. They cannot really, get other people's opinion. Something is correct for them,
Yeah.
then they keep insisting on it. So they don't try to agree on other people's opinion. I mean, I'm not trying to generalize it, but it happens a lot.
Yeah. I felt when I was elementary school, if I have any idea, but it's not, it's a different between the others
Yep.
ideas and mine. So I felt that is bad things. It's that I realize now it's not bad thing. So if I have my own idea, it's a very interesting from others, and also I'm interested in listening the others idea, because it's not mine, so it's a difficult to come up with
Mm-hmm.
by myself. So it's a very the valuable things to think to hear or accept the others' ideas. Yeah.
Right.
So and in Asia, they restrict the way to think
Mm-hmm.
of children. So that is, I think, bad things in Asian.
Right.
I agree with you. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have anxiety or some my anxiety, so how do you with them? How do you deal with them?
If I had anxiety, there are multiple ways that I could deal with. But for instance, like if I had anxiety because I failed at something,
Mm-hmm.
then I first of all try to acknowledge that I have failed,
Mm-hmm.
and then I try to move on. Like I try to learn from my mistakes. Well, first I have to admit that I failed, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have to move on to the next stage, trying to not make the same mistake again. So I think that's the first one. And another way that I could talk about is probably um, saying that I kind of become angry at myself,
Mm-hmm.
and the the power of angerness, I try to do it better.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hate myself to
Mm-hmm.
become a better one.
Yeah. And so
Like hate
the
my past, yeah, not the current one.
like in Japan, instead to talk about your anxiety or your problem to others because
Yep.
they they they're gonna feel embarrassed themselves if
Mhm.
they talk about themselves to others.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
is
yeah.
as you mentioned before, like if we have an open mind, we can maybe helps others anxiety or uh, someone's depression, uh, so that maybe we have to have an open mind to others, and
Mhm.
help each other is the best way to deal with everyone's anxiety. I think so.
Mhm.
Like the country, some Japanese actor died because of their, I don't know, maybe depression
Mhm.
or anxiety. So they cannot talk to others about their problem, their anxiety they have. So that
Mhm.
maybe that they chose they chose dying to solve them to solve everything they have eventually, and so that it's so sad. The
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of actors died by themselves. The suicide,
Mhm.
suicided. So
That's
I
that's
think it's
yeah.
related to the situation in Japan about the mental health or open mind.
Oh, it is very relevant in South Korea too.
Um,
We have the highest suicidal rate in South Korea in the world.
maybe the Japanese also, right?
Yeah, Japan. Oh, well, Japan is, I think, like in terms of OECD,
Mm-hmm.
South Korea is like number one or number two. And
Um,
I saw it something like Japan, something like number nine or number seven or something.
it's okay. And also I read the news about the children's mental health. So it's reported by the UNICEF. The
Hmm.
UNICEF says the mental health of Japanese kids nearly worst among rich nations.
Hmm.
So it's maybe the also article said maybe the lack of opportunity to think about their happiness or
Hmm.
happiness or life. So I agree with the article.
I mean, like in in terms of the suicidal rate, as you said, is very close to people's education, because
Mm.
as we have talked, these peoples, specifically
Yeah,
in Asian countries, don't really know what their standard of happiness is, and
yeah,
by standard of happiness is that like in South Korea, for instance, I'm not saying Asia because I don't know about Japan or China, East
Mm-hmm.
Asia. But in terms of South Korea, people go to kindergarten, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
there's even a kindergarten uh, in English, teaching in English, because the parents wants their kids to speak
Okay.
English from the
Mm-hmm.
young age.
Yeah.
So the kids go to this kind of kindergarten, that is taught in English, and after that they go to the primary school. But
Mm-hmm.
beside primary school, they have to go to private lesson.
Yeah.
And what I have realized is that these kids go to first of all kindergarten, and they don't really get a lot of stress,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
honestly. But when they started going primary school and they go to like private lessons, a lot of kids does in terms of South Korea. I don't know what in Japan
It's
or
a
China.
it's a after school you have to
Yes,
go.
after school,
Mm-hmm.
like private lesson, like private mathematics lesson, private English
Maybe
lesson.
the parents' pressure is stronger than Japanese. Maybe in Korea, maybe
Mm-hmm.
in Japan, everyone went to the uh, public elementary school, or if they want to go kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
they can go there. But maybe also in Japan, everyone don't care about whether or not their
Mm-hmm.
children can speak English or not. So
Mm-hmm.
if the child want to want to speak English, maybe they can go the English class or
Mm-hmm.
English school. Maybe they in Korea. Yeah, I know in the Korean education system or parents pressure. Maybe it's a lot of pressure on you.
I think, yeah. I mean, like people, a lot of not everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
some lot of kids go to private lessons, like private mathematics, private English lessons after
Mm-hmm.
school, because the parents wants them to, obviously go to good
Yeah.
university. So basically, back to the original statement, they get a lot of stress, because they have to do things that they don't want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously, not
Yeah.
every student wants to do mathematics or English, so they're in a way forced to do those things.
Mm.
And I think like if I think like when they do those stuff, like they get stressed,
Mm-hmm.
and start, they would start thinking, why am I doing this even though I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting stressed? Then they
Yeah.
obviously gonna ask someone who is very close to them. So for
Yeah.
example, like
Exactly.
their parents, right? And
Yeah.
then their parents will say, well, you have to do those stuff. You have to do those stuffs
Yeah.
because you have to get a good grade from the school, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the kid asks consecutively, why should we get good grades? Then
Mm.
the teacher or the parents will say, well, to go to a good university, where to do good in the final exam of the high
Yeah.
school. And they really study hard. They study really, really hard, like in Japan, also in South Korea, in China, in East Asia. They study really hard in the middle school and the high school, and they take the final exam, and they are getting a lot of stress during these times. And they ask, why should we do good in the final exam, where they say you have to go to good university? Then another question comes up, well, why do you have to go to a good university? Then they say, well, to get a good job. And another question comes up, why should we get a good job? Well, to get a lot of money, where to
Yeah.
get a lot of fame. So it's really like there is no absolute standard of happiness. Like there is no, because it's really relative. Like some people want to have a good family, maybe some people want to have a lot of money, some people want to have reputation, some people want to live in like environment that's just happiness, a standard of happiness for them. So there is no really absolute standard of happiness. It's all relative. But the education system, our current education system, forces us to have one standard of happiness. That is what we define as the society standard of happiness, which are money and the good university and stuff. People are really kind of stressed because obviously they have got their own standard of happiness, but they're kind of forced to do those stuff. So
yeah,
it's very complicated, I would say.
and so your parents pressure on you to about your
My parents did not really force me because I lived abroad, in Europe, so it was all right for me.
So thank you very much to join and take care. It's a little bit.
I'll be very pleasant if you invite me once again.
Yeah, of course. I'll invite some other topic, another topic.